What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode here on the Calvin Cam podcast. Here we are. We have some pretty exciting news. Tomorrow is going to be Sony's State of Play. PlayStation is going to be making a couple of announcements, and we're looking forward to seeing what they have in store for us. We have a few predictions, and that's what this episode is about today. It's about predictions for this State of Play and what we can expect, what we probably will get, and our hopes as well. On top of, we are going to be talking about the constant change in gaming showcases over the last few decades and what they are today, because we've lost a lot of good ones and we've also gained some pretty interesting new ways of presenting games to players. So let's get into it. All right, here we are. Anthony, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How's everyone doing today? State of play.
Yeah, State of Play, some pretty big stuff. I hope that it goes well because I'm a huge PlayStation fan, as most people know, and I have a lot riding on this. Not really, not bets or anything, but I really want a lot more out of these showcases recently, and I feel like we haven't really been delivered the goods, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the recent State of Plays have kind of been underwhelming a little bit meh. And I usually watch them with a group of my buddies, and we are like, oh, this looks awesome, this looks cool, but then we kind of evaluate it afterwards, and we're like, yeah, actually it wasn't all what it's choked up to be. Last month we had the Xbox showcase. We watched it together, and we saw that Xbox kind of brought a couple of really cool announcements. They even shadow dropped a game, Ninja Gaiden 2 remastered, which looks incredible and it plays great. And honestly, it's for as great as it looks, they still didn't fix the camera, but that doesn't hurt the game. So
technical issues are always a thing.
I think it's I think they did it on purpose for nostalgia. But it's good. But they announced Ninja Gaiden 4. They had a gameplay for South of Midnight, which looks really awesome. That's that 2D or 3D stop motion animation Spider-Verse-esque game that's coming out based on in the South, you're playing as a girl who is in the bayou, and it looks really cool, really creative, almost like a Del Toro kind of vibe to it.
Not Pan's Labyrinth. I was thinking, Pinocchio.
Yeah, Pinocchio.
Thinking of Pan's Labyrinth. Why was I saying that's not stop motion?
well, I mean, that's still him.
Yeah, it's still him, but it's not that.
But we got what else? Doom: The Dark Ages, which looks really cool. The change in the way that Doom is changing. You're more of a tank than you are fast-paced shooter. You're more of just taking on everything head on. I think all the gameplay looks really great, and I'm really excited about that game. So I think Xbox did a really good job having a tiny showcase that kind of packed a big punch. So I would say that last month's showcase for them was really great. Now we have State of Play from Sony, and it's I'm not really entirely sure what to expect. So let's go. Let's see. We're probably gonna see Ghost of Yotei. I'm hoping that we'll see something with Insomniac's Wolverine. I've been waiting to see what's going on with Insomniac in general for a long time. I know that they've lost a few people, and it's after that leak that they had. I don't know if you remember that, but basically Insomniac got hacked and was held ransom, basicly.
I didn't hear any of that news about that at all.
So a few months back, they got hacked and a bunch of files were taken from them and were held at ransom. Basically, it was you pay us this amount of dollars and we will give you your stuff back, or we will leak all of your upcoming DLC and games and gameplay, like pre-alpha testing and all that stuff for all of their future games, like Spider-Man 2 stuff, Wolverine, etc. So like Insomniac obviously doing the right thing was like, nah. And they didn't do any they didn't do that. They didn't fold at all. But it did hinder them because they really haven't released anything. Like we got a full blown Spider-Man multiplayer game that was leaked that looked great. It was you and like 4 or 5 other people online playing as different Spider-Man, taking on missions. It was like a live service Spider-Man game. It looked really cool because it's running off of the recent Marvel Spider-Man engine. Um, so I think that that obviously fell through and they canceled the project. And then Wolverine got a lot of like leaked footage for their pre alpha testing, and like just even the basic building of that game was leaked, and it looks like I've seen a few clips here and there, but I've tried not to like really watch it because I have respect for like the company. Obviously, when you're scrolling through For You pages, people just post stuff all the time, and it is what it is. Like I catch a glimpse here or there, but like I try to stay away from it as much as I possibly can, just because I have respect for the devs. Um, but it did hurt Insomniac, and we haven't heard really anything from them. We know they had a layoff. We know that their CEO left. Uh, it's a lot. So
It's a lot to unpack sometimes with all this news that comes in with these devs and things that are going on.
gaming's crazy right now.
Yeah,
Gaming,
it is crazy. There's a lot going on with all of them, with us, with even Valve and
Yeah.
Xbox and Sony.
yeah, just all the industry's in a really weird place. Games have never been more like exciting, but it's also like at the cost of like these studios making these major decisions, laying off thousands of people, and just it sucks. It sucks and it hurts the gaming industry a lot, but it's also like on the other side of things, you have some of the greatest looking games are coming out, and it's really it's a great
Yeah.
time. It's a very interesting time to be a gamer.
Yeah, there's also, I mean, quick little Valve news. I mean, there's also, I don't know if you've been keeping up on it. There's leaks for like Half-Life 3 and the new Steam Deck 2 that it might actually launch coinciding with each other. Those are just rumors. But,
Yeah, no.
so there's that. And yeah, I heard, well, most of the stuff that happens in State of Play is just, some of it's like hard reveals sometimes, right?
Yeah, sometimes they drop just like all new an all new game announcement, or sometimes it's just like new footage. Sometimes they shadow drop games here or there. But we're in such a weird place because PlayStation used to have an actual PlayStation showcase that they would do in the fall, and it was around December. And they would it'd be like E3, um, but it's strictly PlayStation, and they would just do drop after drop after drop after drop, trailer after trailer after trailer, like minimal talking in between. It was great, 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 great showcases. But then that stopped, and they kind of like turned into how Nintendo does things, and they do Nintendo Direct. So every once in a while you'll hear, "Hey, here we go, upcoming Nintendo Direct, this next Wednesday." Like, and that's kind of what PlayStation started doing as well. It works really great for Nintendo because that's just like what Nintendo has always really done. But for PlayStation, I feel like it's not as the state of plays aren't as big as like the showcases that the gaming community wants them to be. So same with Xbox. Xbox, like we get these showcases announced, and we're just like, it's not like a big event like E3 or PAX or Comic Con or Summer Games Fest. Like it's nothing like that. It's on the smaller scale, and it's usually around games that have already been announced. But I know that, I mean, me as a consumer, as a player, I want to see new gameplay and new game announcements because I love that. It's one of the
Oh,
best
that's
aspects.
the thing that excites us about this industry is getting new IPs, and they usually reveal these during these uh, well, during conventions, which we had E3, and that's just been historical. Like E3 was huge, and that's literally when developers would just launch and reveal lots of stuff. Now we really don't have that anymore with the cancellation of the show. Most of that happens during the Game Awards that we get once a year, and sometimes we don't hear anything uh, a whole year after the Game Awards. Like we don't hear something, we hear nothing. Like Judas with Irrational Games with Kevin Levine and his crew that makes those wonderful games like BioShock and stuff like that, and System Shock. Like we haven't heard anything about that at all.
No, it's good
And
nothing.
maybe in this state of play, maybe Irrational will drop like a Judas reveal or something. So you want to get into some of them that you
Yeah,
think they're going to happen?
let's drop into predictions. So, uh, let's start with her hopes for what we're gonna get. I really hope, like I said, I want to see Insomniac's Wolverine. A huge fan of the Spider-Man games, so I definitely and I'm a huge Marvel guy, as you know. But I think that an actual Wolverine game would be so awesome. And like we saw the trailer a few years back, and it's been a while. So like we haven't heard anything besides that whole scandal going on with that leak. But I really would like to see at least a new trailer or some kind of update on that. Um, I also want to see gameplay for Ghost of Yote. I think it looks great. The trailer was cool. So I would like to see some gameplay. That would be a really cool surprise. It'd be fun. Death Stranding 2, I'm not really interested in seeing anything. I think I've seen all I needed to see from that game. So, but
Was there talks about Death Stranding 2? I haven't keeping up on that.
yeah,
Is
no,
Hideo Kojima going to do something with the
yeah.
IP moving forward?
Oh yeah, no, I thought I showed you, but they announced the second game and they had a full trailer and everything. Like it's really long, it's really batty as Kojima does it, because he's awesome and it looks great, but it's not something that I'm looking forward to because it's just like it's the same thing, but on a bigger scale. So like I already know what to expect from that game, and I don't want to know in the ins and outs of every single game, obviously. And I know that the Ghost of Yote is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, but I just don't want. But I'm more excited for that because it's like a whole new take with new character protagonist. So
I mean, hopefully we'll get some more news about him and Jordan Peele and that IP they're working on that they announced at the Game Awards. Not this last year, but the year we went.
I think that'll be Xbox though because it's Xbox Studio.
Oh, gotcha.
So uh, I also I put Snake's head up there, but I want to see some Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater gameplay because I love that game. So I'm really excited for that, and I'd be very happy with that. Other hopes that I have, let's see. I mean, I would like an update on the new Jurassic Park game, Jurassic Park Survival that we saw when we went to
The Game Awards.
Awards, but it's been a fat minute since we saw anything for that. So it'd be cool to have some kind of update, especially since the new Jurassic Park is coming out later this year. And I mean, maybe I don't know. I would like a new IP. A new IP announcement would be great to see. It's always fun to see, Sony tackle a new IP. I think it's too early to see Intergalactic, but I would die to see Intergalactic at this state of play. That would be really awesome. Definitely a hardcore Naughty Dog fan, so like anything by them would be great. As well as like I don't know if you guys saw my video yesterday that I posted, but I made a little God of War video for TikTok, and I wanted to it'd be cool to see some kind of like God of War update, whether it be like on the next show the next series, or like a remake that's been in talks for a while. It's a highly like rumored remake of the original trilogy of God of War. I'd be happy with that, with any of that. So, those are my hopes. Um, what would your hopes be?
My hopes would be maybe we'll get some reveals for PC, like Nexus ports for PC. Like a lot of talks, like a lot of the community people always want Bloodborne as one to bring over to PC. I know we're getting Last of Us on April 3rd, Last of Us 2. I know that's coming. I don't know. They might reveal more stuff about that, more information about that, and hopefully they reveal like more information about some of the stuff they're like porting over. Like sometimes they do that, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe that sort of information. So that's kind of my hopes. At the moment that they actually do some of that, and maybe a new IP. We'll see what happens, huh?
Yeah. What actually, what is most likely to be shown? I would say we will see Death Stranding 2. We will see maybe another trailer or teaser for Ghost of Yotei. I think that we're not gonna see. We're probably not gonna see Intergalactic. We're probably not gonna see Wolverine. Um, Trying to think of what other. I mean, we might see Forza Horizon 5 coming because that's porting over from Xbox to PlayStation this spring, so we might see a trailer for that. It'd be crazy if we got any kind of Xbox announcement like the Master Chief collection that got leaked. I'd be kind of shocked and blown away for it to be actually at a PlayStation showcase. So that would be interesting. But yeah, I'd say like we're most likely to see the games that we've already known about. We know Metal Gear's coming out this year. Maybe GTA 6. Maybe we'll get a new trailer for GTA 6. We know Rockstar and PlayStation, partner up. So maybe we'll see that. I mean, that's one of the biggest, most anticipated games of the decade. So
yeah, and there's been a lot of talks of it in the news too.
Yeah,
so.
everybody and the meme, the meme around it. Yeah. So hopefully that is. I'm predicting that. That is what we'll get. So, yeah. So I just want to take a quick second, everyone, to thank you all for listening to the podcast. You can find us on our socials. We have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc. We are at the Calvin Cam on all of those, except for TikTok. We are at the Calvin Cam podcast. Please send a like and follow, or hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps us out, helps us grow. Yeah. So just want to take a brief second to drop the handles in there. So back to the show. We have, it's been a while since E3 died. It's been a fat minute. And I feel like E3 was so big that it's so sad to see that that's gone. Because that was something that we looked forward to so much. Just because that was it. That was all of the game announcements for the year. That was everything, just all at one big convention, big time. It was the Comic-Con of games. So
yeah, I truly miss it, because that's literally where we got our gaming news for so many years. Like even when the gaming industry just started getting big, like E3 started like to be a thing, because it's just when the developers would just get together and show their stuff. I mean, if you go back and watch some of the history, they're like really, really small. They kind of had like them in certain like little just staged little areas where they would just briefly talk, and then all of a sudden gaming just took off in the in the 90s, and then all of a sudden E3 was a huge show with a bunch of reveals, a bunch of booths, so just a bunch of fandom, a bunch of stuff going on, and it just sucks that we don't have that anymore. And just because it's good to go to these conventions, this is where you network with people and you have fun as a gamer. I mean, you pick up swag and all those things. It's just a fun time.
yeah, you've been to PAX like a bunch.
I've been to PAX. 2012 and several other times. I've been to PAX like 5 times. I haven't been to PAX for a while. COVID really like threw the whole vibe off with conventions. So apparently PAX, it's still big. It's just like I don't think many people go, and not to mention a lot of like the the AAA developers and big companies with their booths and stuff. They've went, but it hasn't been as grand as it used to be. Because before, I remember at League of Legends, I think it was before, I think it's 2000, before they were big, before they launched. I remember them being a small booth at PAX and giving out their cards for their game to test it. And then all of a sudden, years later, they're having like the world championships on the top floor. And it's just where games grow sometimes, and they get their exposure, and they just love going to these places. So it's just good. PAX is just wonderful. I mean, there's so many booths. They even have a lot of, people that are into board games. There's a whole floor for board games. They even had a montage, like on the floors, they had like arcade games in the corners that are on free play, and you could just walk around and meet people. And there's so many people doing cosplay. It's just like, I really miss PAX, and hopefully it picks up again. It has the last couple of years, but it's just a great place to go for gamers. And
yeah, it's funny how we're still like, it's been 5 years and we're still talking about COVID. Like COVID really messed everything up for a lot of things. And we're in the recovery stage. We're getting back on our feet in all sorts of life. So hopefully PAX will be big and I can actually go. And it'd be a good time. We went to the Game of the Year Awards, which has been going on for 10 years now. We went to it 2 years ago, and we absolutely had a fantastic time. But it's still not the same as that feeling that E3 gave you. Like, yes, they've changed the awards into more of a showcase show, but instead of awards, which I feel like there's the interesting balance between it, because you do want to see announcements, but we're also there to respect and acknowledge the hard work that has gone into the games that we've been delivered, and that most of the games, most of the developers and like just members of the teams at all the different studios, like they deserve their time in the light and their time to see and accept these awards and stuff. And it's great to acknowledge that all of the hard work that goes into making these games from all of these hundreds of thousands of people who've put the countless hours into it. So it's that's a big part of the award show that I love. And I noticed that last year when they did it, they touched upon that a lot more than they had been. And it was really great to see the balance between showing games and acknowledging the gaming industry. So I really, really enjoyed that. As you know, E3, as we move away from E3 now, and like I said, all the different studios have started doing their own kind of showcases. Even like during Summer Games Fest, which has been going on for the last few years or longer. But Summer Game Fest, they do this whole summer festival that lasts like a week. And it's more on the studios doing their showcases. So we have like a Ubisoft studio showcase, a Square Enix showcase, Bethesda showcase, etc. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that everything's kind of more spread out now, and instead of in one place. I mean, I get it and I appreciate it, but I also feel like it's you know what it's like. It's like midnight showings. It's like it's not the same. Like, yes, we have the movie releases. They release on Thursday nights or whatever, but now it's like Thursday mornings at like, it could be 2:00, 4:00, 7:00. There's multiple different shows on a release date for a movie instead of the midnight show. the midnight show. This was the show that you would line up for. You would get in line and you wait all day. You wait hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and the line would be wrapped around the blocks, and you're all just waiting to see and that movie that's coming out, that big epic blockbuster. And I feel like that's how E3 was. It's like we waited all year for that time to just like blow up.
Yeah, I definitely truly miss it. Like we need it on both sides of the world. Like we need it here, and I like that they've done it with Gamescom, but a lot of people can't go to Germany to watch Gamescom or attend it. I mean, it's good that it exists. I love that it exists.
Gamescom's insane. Gamescom's it's so cool. It looks so amazing.
And they do a lot of reveals there as well. I mean, even indie games get reveals, and I'm glad that we have indie games getting exposure like that.
Yeah.
So I just hope that maybe they'll make a decision as an industry as a whole just to bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that, the return of E3. Like that already is a selling title. Like, especially just because the gaming industry is huge. Like games produce so much money. And I mean, they cost a lot of money to make, but they also generate like an insane amount of profit. Like it's wild. I mean, look at the giants, Microsoft and Sony, like giants. Nintendo's giant too. I'm not skipping out on Nintendo. I'm just saying Nintendo runs their own race and they know where they're at. And they can easily compete with the others. I mean, the Nintendo Switch is it's 10 million units away from selling the most consoles of all time, which is not that far behind. So, I think it's not that far behind the PlayStation 2. It's the most selling. So, which is crazy. But it's just wild, and we want to see the return. So, but yeah, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. We thank you so much for tuning in, and hope that you check us out on all of our other media platforms that we have, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
See you, everyone.